So this morning I'm scrolling on Instagram and I came across a portrait from a friend. I was curious as to what studio he was using to do this. So as I Googled the studio name, the street address, the street name, was the same as one for a studio that I ran years ago. So I Googled the actual address so I can get a street view and kind of see where this space was in relation to the studio I used to have, and it was the same building. So as I scroll, as I kind of move down the street on the street view, I came upon the front door to my entrance, and there I saw the steps and the railing. And while it's generally a trivial thought, one that you wouldn't expect to evoke any kind of anything, I was immediately taken back there and recalled these moments of my youngest son walking up the steps and kind of playing on the railing. So it just, it stopped me in my tracks. Now, this space was awesome. I was there for maybe about a year tops. I was subletting with a friend or from a friend. It was a natural light space, huge windows. And I remember one of the first shoots I did there was shooting a dancer. I set up the backdrop stand, white backdrop, did the full sweep. And Mom's like, "Aren't you going to set up lights?" And I'm just like, do you? God's light. It was an amazing space, and I created some incredible art there. Even outside of the walls of my specific studio in there was all these little nooks and crannies that enabled me to create even more dynamic content for people. But then, as I'm thinking about these happy thoughts, I was also then overcome with a sense of melancholy. And I'm sitting in this emotion for a minute, and then it kind of dawns on me that the reason I'm feeling melancholy is because at that moment, in that period, when I had the space, when I was there operating, when I was there shooting, I had a sense of self, I had a sense of purpose, and I had direction. I was a photographer, period. And I think that studio gave me a sense of home, a center. When you step foot in there, you felt inspired. It gave me a place where I can kind of go at any point and just create. And I don't have any of that right now. At least I'm not feeling any of that presently. I don't have a studio. I'm kind of my sense of self and direction and purpose are fluttering at best. Now, I'm on a completely different path right now than I was then. I've gone to college, I've got my degree, I'm on a completely different path. I'm also still juggling a couple different identities right now as I'm kind of going on this new path. There's the identity of things I want to do professionally, industries I want to operate in, kinds of shoots I want to go on, content I want to create. The flip side to that is the identity of I also need to make money now. I need to pay bills now. I feel like there's kind of more at stake. I do have bouts of excitement and bouts of inspiration of things I want to do, changes I want to make, things I want to kind of put out into the world. But I also have kids, I've got family, I've got, I'm in my 50s. So I'm now staring down the clock, making sure I'm set up for whenever I choose to or can no longer work. How do you reconnect with a sense of direction or purpose when you've lost it? And I think that's, when I think back on my previous career, I think that's one of the things I miss most is the singular direction kind of, the purpose, the attack, and that kind of brings me to kind of where I am now. For the last year or so, I've entertained the idea of getting a new studio. For me, there's a certain kind of grounding or centering that comes with having a space. I guess it kind of, on certain levels, kind of gives me the canvas to create. You know, even within video stuff, there are things that I would like to do that having a studio could be beneficial. But there's a part of me, kind of like the devil and the angel, part of me that wonders, like, if I'm just simply holding on to the past, if I'm somehow like regressing, or if I'm letting this uncertainty kind of impede any kind of progress. Like, one of the things I want to do, it's kind of like my high level kind of goal, is I really want to nail interview lighting. You know, I want to do high profile interviews. Having my own space will give me the space, literally and metaphorically, to be able to hone those skills. So this way I can kind of go after, like, you know, New York Times stuff, or whatever the case is. You know, another high level thing is, you know, I want to do like large documentaries. I just think right now I'm just feeling like this sense of kind of like being in flux, because I'm not there yet. I'm not at that, not where I want to be career-wise yet. I'm at the, you know, very, very beginning of this. One of the things preventing me from doing a studio is, or like opening a studio, is the expense of it. I'm not, right now I'm in a place where I'm trying to keep all of my expenses down. However, I need space to be able to practice. I need space to be able to create, even, you know, for commission stuff. So it's kind of like that juxtaposition, or like a catch-22. Like, I don't want to spend the money, but if I'm having to rent, you know, from other studio owners, then maybe it just makes the most sense for me to kind of pull a trigger on my own space. The other part of this is trying to find space that's going to be close to where I'm at now. I don't want to be in Port Richmond, and I want to be as close to home as possible, just in case my son needs me. And that's kind of like full stop. That said, I also need the space to be somewhere that's going to be central to businesses, easy for people to get to. So should things kind of pick up and I start getting higher profile clients, they're not having to travel to, you know, these outskirts of areas. So I don't know. I'm kind of rambling now. I don't know what's going to happen in the studio. I think at some point I probably will. It's hysterical that just seeing a picture of our front door and railing kind of brought me to the space right now, this morning. One of the things that really kind of sticks out to me is that seeing that door, revisiting that time, just reminds me of just how much I love creating art, and connecting with people. And I think that's probably one of the things I miss most, is just creating. That's it. I miss creating and connecting. Obviously, you don't need a studio for that. Certain ways a studio can make it a lot easier, but so I don't know. Will I have another studio at some point? I'm not sure. Probably. I think it would open the door for a lot of opportunities for me. Well, that's all I got. That's it. See you next week. Deuces.